Morning, YouTube. Well, I'm interrupting my journey on Route 20. When I got to Idaho Falls, I was only a couple hours away from my son, so I zipped down by Salt Lake to visit him. And while I'm here, we're doing a few upgrades and maintenance stuff on the bus. The other day, we changed the filter on the transmission and the fuel filter, which was really nasty, but after 10,000 miles. And the air filter, which after some of the dirt roads I've been down, not surprising, that was pretty cruddy. So that's what we did already. Now, upgrade wise, or finishing a couple other things, is remember I had lights up in front. I had only one for the water, and now I've got one going for the propane. The third one I'm going to wire into the relay with this, which means I'm plugged in. If I'm plugged into shore power, that's on. That way I'll have all three up front, and if any of those are lit, I don't move till I turn off or unplug or whatever. So just a reminder, I do a walk around when I go anywhere, so chances are that unplugged one I'm never going to see, but it's there as a reminder. Okay, now upgrades. This control panel is great. Tells me the batteries are 100%, 13.9 amps. I'm pulling in an amp. That's with both fantastic fans running, so I'm pulling in more power than I'm using, which is great. What this doesn't tell me is, it tells me what's coming in from both panels. It doesn't tell me the individual panels. So I'm taking an idea from Mudspringer, and I'm going to put in an amp meter. Now he's got one for each. I'm just going to put in one, but when I run them, the incoming from each of the panels down into a couple of shunts, and so each panel will go into the top of the shunt. At the bottom, I'll connect them up, then it goes down to the charge controller. From those, I can take a lead over to this knife switch. Now, I can hook up a lead from each shunt to either side so that I will be able to select front panel or rear panel, and that will be reading on this amp meter. So that way I can tell if what's coming in from each individual panel. This tells me the whole system, and that basically is makes maintenance or troubleshooting a little easier. And if something goes wrong with one of the panels, I mean, I know he had problems with one, and this way I can check what's coming in from each panel. And keeping in mind that's 24 volts, and yeah, this is too. So I'm going to do that, and we will see how that all works. So I'll get working on that. Okay, the other thing I'm going to be doing today is, if you remember, I used to have, for these LED lights, I used to have a remote that messed up, so I wired them all in here for just white light. But what I've got is 3 more of these knife switches that I'm going to mount right here. I'm going to take the power off of this one, and each of these will be a different color. So I can flip the switch if I want yellow, flip another one for red, flip another one for blue, or combinations thereof. So these will be, I'm going to mount right up in here. That's going to free this one up. I'm not sure I can figure out a way to leave that one on for just white, but I will see what I can do. So I'm going to get these things mounted. I got to get that hole drilled, mount the one there, and then shunts inside, and we start doing some wiring. So I'm sure somebody's asking, why is he going with knife switches? Why not, you know, rotary switch? Or look at the name. My name, Steampunky. I had to add some steampunk elements as I go. So I mean, it is what it is, but this is fine. Okay, this is the switch is wired up. Now, before anybody says anything about this exposed wire, this is the ground. The way those lights work, the power goes in and you ground each color. So this is the ground. It is a 12-volt system. So I could put my fingers across here and I'll get a little jangle, but I'm not going to get super zapped. So, and I want this look. If I had a thin piece of metal, I would have put that across, but I don't have that. So now I'll move on the inside and try to get that all wired up. All right. Well, I just disconnected this ground. Maybe you can see the lights are on. I disconnected it. These are the wires that go to the two different sides, and I'm going to put the three different colors on three different terminals. So I've got to sort these wires out, and then we run the wires from the switches I just put into these other side of the three terminals, and we should all be good. But I have to figure out which. I'm pretty sure I did red is to red, green is to, or blue is to blue, and green is to yellow, but I got to figure that out. And of course, the easiest way to figure this out is to touch them. So if I touch that, to the red, the lights out front should come on red. Yep, red. And red. Alright, so red and red, hook that up, and looks like my ground wire came off from the other side, or my power. So I'll get that all hooked up. I'll go through all the mess and I'll show you on the outside. Okay, so I got this all wired up. Power comes in here, goes out to the lights, and the ground is down here. This ground goes back to the switches, and each of these lines is a different color. So I got red, green, and blue. And let's go outside and we will see how those switches work. Unless I messed up, they should work just fine. Alright, let's see how this works. I throw this first switch, I get red. For the second switch, I get green. Third switch, I get blue, but if I put all three of them, I get white. Or I can get lavender, fuchsia, yellow. So for some reason, red and green give me yellow. So now I got all kinds of options. And it looks sort of cool. Now, I got to wire that up. All right, so the red and white wires come from either side of that light switch. The center pole goes through the voltmeter, comes down and it is attached to both sides, to both shunts. It's on the negative side. The negative for the panels down here, it's on. This is where it combines the both. And I got the front panel is hooked to the red, and the back panel is hooked to the white. So now to flip the breaker on the other side and see what readings we get. And of course, while I was hooking all this stuff up, the sun went behind the tree that's next to me. So I have to wait till tomorrow morning to check this out. But I'm okay with the tree shading the bus when it's 91 degrees outside, 93 degrees. All right, I got some sun now. The batteries are like over 100%, but that's happens. I'm bringing in, according to this monitor, 1.5 amps. Now, on the one I put in yesterday, it showed 1.5 amps on red one, which is the front one, and the white one, it's about 2 amps. But I got some stuff going here, so with the lights, that's, let's see, turn the lights off. Nope. So, but this way I can check either one. So that worked out.